Greg Berhalter has been terminated as chief of the U.S. Men's Public Group, as of now, the U.S. Soccer Organization affirmed Wednesday. The declaration comes following the group's terrible display at the 2024 Copa America, in which the hosts neglected to move beyond the gathering stage after losses to Uruguay and Panama. It was the initial occasion when the USMNT was disposed of from the gathering phase of a World Cup, Copa America or Gold Cup that it facilitated. The expectation had been that the Americans would involve the competition as a springboard to better progress at the 2026 World Cup, which the U.S. is co-facilitating with Canada and Mexico. All things considered, the exhibitions at the Copa America uncovered how little headway the USMNT has made since the 2022 World Cup. The choice to eliminate Berhalter was made by U.S. Soccer donning chief Matt Crocker following a 10-day survey process, which included councils with President Cindy Parlow-Cone, Chief J.T. Batson, VP of Wearing Oguchi-Onyu and individuals from the governing body. Sources let ESPN know that the survey cycle likewise included Michael Caron, who as indicated by the USSF site is an individual from its Proficient Association team, surveying board individuals throughout recent days to see where they remained as it connected with Berhalter's presentation and whether he ought to remain. I need to say thanks to Greg for his persistent effort and commitment to U.S. soccer and our men's public group, Cone said in a proclamation. We are presently centered around working with our donning chief Matt Crocker and utilizing his involvement with the most significant levels of the game to guarantee we track down the ideal individual to lead the USMNT into another period of on-field achievement. The Copa America result is very disheartening and I assume complete ownership for our presentation, Berhalter said in his own explanation. Our methodology and cycle was constantly centered around the 2026 World Cup and I stay certain that this gathering will be one of the extraordinary stories in 2026. Crocker will lead the quest for Berhalter's substitution and has begun the interaction. U.S. soccer is focused on doing what is important to guarantee our prosperity on the pitch and we are devoted to encouraging a culture that prompts winning, Crocker said in an explanation. Our quick spotlight is on finding a mentor who can expand our true capacity as we keep on getting ready for the 2026 World Cup, and we have proactively started our pursuit interaction. The disappointment at the Copa America took on significantly more importance for the Americans given that, as hosts, there will be no World Cup qualifying matches to assist them with getting ready for the competition. The Copa was the last and open door for the Americans to play cutthroat installations against groups from outside the CONCACAF locale. The main other competition that the public group will in the middle among now and 2026 is the 2025 CONCACAF Gold Cup. The impending September global window will see the US face Canada and New Zealand. We must win. Furthermore, we didn't accomplish that according to our viewpoint, Crocker said in a phone call with correspondents. In any case, when I truly do take a gander at the work that Greg has placed in and other staff have placed into the program throughout the course of recent years, I needed to ensure that I truly required some investment and was definitive with my dynamic that at the time I felt was correct and not being driven by any other individual. I think 5 years is quite a while, and there's been a ton of building blocks that have been set up. It was an extremely youthful gathering, initially, and there has been progress made, yet this is the ideal opportunity to transform that advancement into winning. There's been progress in the gathering, yet that progress hasn't converted into an adequate number of wins in that competition, which is really basic. Assumptions for the USMNT have expanded since its good appearing at the 2022 World Cup, where it arrived at the round of 16 with the most youthful group in the competition as weighted by minutes played. Berhalter was rehired as the group's mentor in June 2023 on an agreement through the 2026 World Cup, following a 6-month examination ignited by a break with the group of US player Giovanni Reyna. Yet, from that point forward, the Americans have battled to show improvement. They scarcely scraped by Jamaica in the elimination rounds of the CONCACAF Countries Association in spring, when an own objective in final part stoppage time assisted them with getting away with a triumph in additional time. The Americans additionally tumbled to Trinidad and Tobago in the second leg of the quarterfinals of that opposition, however they advanced on total. These outcomes, taken together, expanded calls for Berhalter to be supplanted. The evening of the U.S. group's disposal, Crocker, who was absent at the Uruguay match because of a long-arranged family responsibility, declared that a survey cycle would initiate to assess the exhibition of Berhalter and the group. Eventually, Crocker chose to alleviate Berhalter. Large global names, for example, Jurgen Klopp, Thierry Henry, Marcelo Bielsa and Mauricio Pochettino are among those being estimated about as possibility to supplant Berhalter, alongside MLS mentors Steve Cherundolo and Wilfried Nancy. Berhalter acquired $2,291,136 in 2022, incorporating $900,000 in rewards for the Americans meeting all requirements for the World Cup and arriving at the subsequent round. Nonetheless, Crocker said that compensation wouldn't be a significant obstacle, with the objective to have Berhalter's replacement set up one of the USMNT's September friendlies. I realize it's a truly serious market out there salary-wise, and we must be cutthroat to get the degree of mentor that I accept can take the program forward as far as accomplishing the outcomes that we want to do on the field, Crocker added. But on the other hand, I'm truly cognizant that we really want to keep on driving for better expectations and balance. However, I don't believe that will be a hindrance concerning our speculation. Our public group is vital. It's something we're ready to put resources into and something that we will put resources into. I simply need to get the most ideal mentor, he proceeded, and whether they're from the US or on the other hand somewhere else, they must fit the profile, which is a sequential winning mentor, someone that can keep on fostering this possible gathering of players. A high-level men's mentor could come down on the USSF to build the compensation of recently recruited ladies public group mentor Emma Hayes after it concurred in 2022 to balance pay for players on the people's public groups. Berhalter, a previous US global as a player, was initially employed in December 2018 subsequent to having spent the past 5 seasons training the Columbus team. Yet, he was welcomed on while his sibling, Jay, was the USSF boss business official, bringing up issues about a likely irreconcilable circumstance. Following the USMNT's inability to fit the bill for the 2018 World Cup, Berhalter set about modifying the group with another age of players and a recent trend dependent vigorously upon ownership. The outcomes were lopsided at the end of the day positive. The US lost the 2019 CONCACAF Gold Cup last to Mexico. The Americans then fell during the gathering stage to Canada in the 2020 CONCACAF Countries Association. However, because of a development to a more down-to-earth style, they at last recuperated to guarantee that title as well as the 2 ensuing CNL crowns. World Cup qualifying had comparable troubles. The US at last made the 2022 World Cup, however that wasn't gotten until the last day of qualifying, with the group completing third in CONCACAF qualifying on objective differential. However, Berhalter and the group have neglected to expand on the commitment of the 2022 World Cup, and presently he ends up out of a task.